Hello, my friends, and happy Thursday. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited about this project. It is all about focal point stones, and I would love to talk a little bit about design, not just show you how to do it, but also talk about elements of design and how I approach it. A lot of people ask me how I design, so I would love to share some of the elements that are usually present in my jewelry. So today we are going to be making this necklace that I called Tradewinds, and it's a very simple necklace to make, and it all starts with a focal point. So let's just, let's define a focal point. I think everybody knows what it is. But, what is it as far as when we start designing a piece of jewelry? Well, it's not just a pendant. It's not just a cool bead, but it's actually something that your eye is really drawn to. So this is going to be the very first thing that somebody is going to see when they see your beautiful piece of jewelry. So the way I approach it is, for me, it usually starts with a focal point piece. Sometimes it starts with a color, sometimes it starts with a cool finding, but in this case, I will say it definitely started with a focal point.
Fonda says, good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Hi, Fonda, and happy Thursday to you, my friend.
Angela says, good evening.
Good evening, Angela.
And Ellen says, hi, Irina and everyone.
Hi, Ellen.
Tina says, good evening.
Hi, Tina.
Lori says, good evening, Irina and Tony.
Good evening, Tina.
Pammy J says, good Thursday evening, Irina, Tony, Lauren, and all.
Hi, Pammy J.
Cheryl says, hi, all. This focal is gorgeous.
Oh, thank you so much, Cheryl.
Jane says, happy Thursday, everyone. This is a fun necklace.
Hi, Jane. Thank you so much, and happy Thursday.
Patricia says, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Patricia. Good evening.
Karen says, this piece is beautiful.
Thank you so much, Karen. Okay, ladies. So I would love to share just a little bit, since this is such a very simple project. There's really not a whole lot to it technique-wise, but in terms of design, people ask me all the time how I approach design. So in this case, I started out with a focal point, and I like having something that is going to complement the focal point. Hence, these beautiful inlaid beads that come from Tibet. And this, of course, is meant to complement the composite turquoise piece. These composite turquoise pieces, they're absolutely gorgeous. It's turquoise, I believe it's actually American turquoise, Kingman Mine. They are put together under very high pressure with pyrite. And so the result is really stunning. And of course, all the focal point pieces are going to be unique. No two are going to be exactly alike. It is, even though there is a little bit of a little help from a human hand, but it is a nature's work of art. So we have to remember that. Each one is going to be shaped a little bit differently and maybe colored a little differently, but we pick them out by hand. We handpick every piece. We want you to have, every kit is going to be absolutely gorgeous.
Katie S. says, good evening, all.
Hi, Katie. I'm so glad you joined us.
Jeline says, hello.
Hi, Jeline.
And Allie says, very pretty.
Thank you so much, Allie. Okay, guys, so I'm a big fan of mixing metals. I don't do it a lot, but I do it occasionally whenever I have a piece like this. So even though we don't have metal in this actual focal point piece, but the pyrite, also known as fool's gold. And who does not love fool's gold? I'm a fool for it. So pyrite is very metallic and kind of brassy, bronzy. And so to me, these inlaid beads are just such a wonderful complement. Yet I did not want to make the entire piece in brass because a lot of people like silver. Silver is our most popular metal, and I personally wear a lot of silver or silver tone. And I love mixing metals because that allows me to still wear it with all of my other silver pieces, which of course I love to layer my pieces. So that is how these beads came about. And I have a little bit of a secondary focal point here. This kind of elongates our primary focal point and gives it a little bit more of an ethnic character, which also I enjoy very much. And so that is the ring, which is also a good part of our construction, how our piece is constructed. And so then, to complement the ring, I have these capped pearls, which are also from Nepal. So they have this beautiful handmade character because, of course, they actually are handmade, as are the inlaid turquoise beads. And so when I design a piece like this, I like everybody to kind of have friends. So we have the turquoise and the inlaid beads, they're friends, and then we have pearls, and then there's another type of pearl which is really complementary because it has the same type of luster. Even though it's not exactly the same color, it's a little bit more of kind of a gray, a little bit beige, kind of a grayish. And so I think that's really complementary to the piece as well.
Barb says, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Barb. Good evening.
And Bonnie Lee says, hi, Irina and Tony.
Hi, Bonnie Lee. Thank you for joining us. All right, guys. So that's about it. That's the gist of how I approach design. And then, of course, with every piece, it's going to be just a little bit different. We may have a focal piece, we may have multiple focal pieces, we may not have a focal piece at all. So, you know, every piece requires a different approach. So for right now, I think I'm going to get started with the demo. And we are going to get started with 22 gauge wire. And we're starting with this little handmade chain. And I will demo a wrapped loop because, of course, wrapped loops are such a big part of this project. And whenever we make a wrapped loop, of course, we are going to make a 90-degree angle. And I'm using a bail making pliers. The larger side of the bail making pliers. Whenever I have a project that has a lot of loops that need to be the same shape, the same size, I like using the bail making pliers. And you can definitely do this type of a project with just your regular round nose. That is totally doable, but you'll just have to work a little harder at keeping your loops consistent. So here's my first loop, and I'm about to string my pearl with the beautiful handmade caps onto the wire. And we are going to make another loop to match the first. And I like my loops to align. So I'm holding the chain nose pliers in such a way that the wire is turned at the angle where the two loops are going to be aligned. And of course, I left a little bit of space. You don't need a whole lot. And I'm using my bail making pliers again. And of course, it's the same side of the bail making pliers. And I just made the second loop. And we're just going to wrap into that opening that I left. And as soon as you wrap into the entire opening, you're done. So it may be that you have one coil, or maybe you have a couple of coils. And now I'm just using my chain nose pliers to pinch in the very end, and this is what it looks like. So we're going to continue making these wrapped loop components until we have made this many. And clearly you're probably noticing that I have a new bead. So whereas the inlaid beads here are turquoise, these are lapis. And that is going to be our new colorway. So we're making our 6 wrapped loop components. And now we're going to start connecting them all with jump rings. And of course, we have done this many, many times. And what I like to do is just open up all of the little jump rings that I intend to use. So for now, there's 6 of them. And I'm using my chain nose pliers and my flat nose pliers. So as I open the jump rings, I'm just going to show you, this is the best way to hold your tools. So you're probably noticing that both tools are at a 90-degree angle to one another. And we're just opening the jump rings something like this. And as I open each jump ring, I move the 2 sides just like a hair closer, so that as we close each jump ring, there's going to be just a tiny little overlap. And that's a good thing, because it's going to make our jump rings stay together. They're going to be really well closed, and they're going to stay together. So now we're going to start connecting our components with the jump rings. And here comes that iconic click. So you guys are hearing that little bit of a click. And so that's great, because we actually, let me show you, we have the 2 sides so close that there's just a tiny little overlap. Can you see the little overlap? And so as I bring the 2 sides together, there's the click, and then the 2 sides are almost pushing against one another. So that tells you that it's going to take a lot to open them. And
Allie says yes. Yay.
oh, yay, thank you so much. So yay, I'm assuming, Allie, you're saying you can see a little bit of that overlap. All right, so I will continue working on our little mini handmade chain.
Allie says, look at those nice loops.
Oh, thank you, Allie. But you know what? You just practice. Everybody can really get good at wrapped loops. And it just, it just takes a little bit of practice, just like anything else. So there we go. We have our 2 little mini chains. And now we have our focal point piece. Are you guys ready? So this is a different focal point piece because this is a different colorway. And we start out with a ball pin. So, so let me tell you, this is a little show and tell part of the, the video. So on this piece, on the turquoise piece, you don't have to use anything extra. You literally just string the bead onto the ball pin and then you make a loop at the top. However, for our next colorway, and I do absolutely adore this bead, it's an absolutely gorgeous hand-carved lapis bead. So you can see a little bit of that pyrite inclusion. And this is not a composite piece. Pyrite is normally present in lapis lazuli. It's just how it is. And so for that reason, these inlaid beads are so complementary to this pyrite in the lapis. I don't know if you guys can see the pyrite in the lapis. Some of the pieces will have a little more, some of the pieces will have a little less, but they all have it. So to accentuate it and also to deal with these very large holes in the bead, can you guys see how really big the holes are? So if we were to just string the bead onto the ball pin, you can see this is not working very well. It just goes right through. So for that reason, I'm using these little 8O beads, seed beads, and this is just right because it sort of contributes to our mixed metals look. It is mostly silver, so the way I treat the mixed metals in this case, it's just kind of like another color. Think of it as another color or another stone. It doesn't mean that now your earrings that you wear with this piece have to be mixed metals. It kind of goes with everything. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a seed bead both at the bottom and at the top of the lapis bead, and those are acting as a little stopper. And now I'm going to be able to make a loop. So we will do just that. So we have to keep in mind that we're working with a ball pin rather than a piece of wire. So keep in mind, this is all the wire you have for your loop. So you can't make a very large loop for this. So for that reason, I'm working with my round nose pliers, and I'm making it, maybe 3 to 4 millimeters in diameter. It really does not have to be very large. This is what it looks like. And now, while holding with my chain nose pliers, I'm going to wrap the wire into that little open space. And that's it. Once you have wrapped the wire, we're just going to snip off the little tail and pinch it in, and we can go on to the next step. In the meantime, this is what it looks like. So these are the components we made so far. All right, so now we are going to need a jump ring. Oh, and you know what? I left the loop turned in the wrong direction. The loop needs to be perpendicular to the stone. That's easy enough to fix. And this is the position of the loop that we want. You can see that it's perpendicular to the bead. And this is so that it aligns with the loop on our ring component. So we are going to string through the little loop on the ring component and connect the loop that is now attached to our lapis bead. And all we have left to do is just close the jump ring. And here we go. This is what it looks like. So we can already see our necklace starting to shape up a little bit. And now, oh yes, I do need one more jump ring. And we will open it the same as the other jump rings. So now we can start connecting our little mini chain components. Maybe it needs to be open a little bit bigger. And we're connecting them to the decorative ring. And you're not going to have a lot of room between the decorative ring and the tools, so you just have to grip, grip them like you mean it. And one more, and connect the little chain. Okay, this one is just a little bit wide.
Kathy K says, sorry I'm late. We'll get the rerun later and watch it again.
Oh, yay! Thank you. I love it. You're watching me in reruns. That's cool. I don't know. It just sounded so cute. So, okay, guys. So this is what we have so far. It's really shaping up nicely. What do you guys think about the new focal point piece and the lapis inlaid beads as opposed to the turquoise? The turquoise is definitely a lot brighter, and to me, it's a little bit more summery.
Allie says these necklaces go great with the wrapped pearl earring kit you had a few months ago.
Oh, thank you very much. You know what? I actually know which ones. Thank you so much for noticing that. I really appreciate it.
Barb says you must have fun designing new things for us. Each one is better than the last.
Oh, thank you so much, Barb. You know what? I have a blast. I literally, I have a blast doing this. I love it.
Carmen says, hi, everyone.
Hi, Carmen.
Tina says, I love it.
Yay, thank you so much, Tina.
Allie says the lapis will be great with jeans.
Yes, definitely. Although I can't say that the turquoise is bad with jeans, but definitely lapis is very kind of a dark denim-y. Especially, I don't know, can you guys tell? So we have a pretty high polish on the inlaid beads, right? And we have pretty high polish on the turquoise bead, but the lapis focal point, the flower that's carved, it's very matte. So it just has this very kind of soulful handmade look. I love it. All right, guys, so we have a lot of chain in this kit. So in theory, you could make it pretty long. And I like it a little shorter. So my version of this, the way that I would wear it, is about 19 inches, including the extender chain. So let's talk about all of this. So the way you make an extender chain in this necklace is it's not a separate extender chain. I'm just going to move this one for a minute. This is our turquoise lagoon, the one I just moved, and the one we're still left with is lapis C.
Jane says love them both.
Thank you so much, Jane.
Carmen says love these necklaces.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you so much.
Sabrina says, hello, good evening, love both necklaces.
you, Sabrina.
Ellen says, I love the turquoise pyrite.
Oh, thank you so much. I don't know really which one my favorite is. Sometimes, like, I really love them both, but maybe like a month later, I have a favorite.
Kim C says, greetings all. Looks gorgeous. Love the carved lapis piece. Perhaps add carved gemstones to your Tucson list.
Thank you so much. I will. You know what? In fact, I have to tell you, handmade and carved is pretty much always on my list, but they're getting so much harder to find, especially at a good price. It's just so hard because the people who are expert at carving, unfortunately, they're getting older and the younger generation are just not doing it as much. So it's just very hard to find beautiful hand-carved pieces these days. But I will try. I absolutely will. All right, guys. So we have, I don't frankly remember how long this chain is. So I have a ruler. I'm just going to measure it. So we have, let's see, this is 12 inches plus 6. So we have 18 inches of chain. And this segment is, let's see, this segment is 5.5 inches. Well, it will be with the jump rings, 5.5 inches. So so the maximum length of the necklace can be 23.5 inches, right? But do you really want 23.5 inches? Well, you decide. Either way, what I usually do is let's say I'm going to use the entire length of chain, I like to line up the chain so that one side is about 2 inches longer, and it can be more than 2 inches longer. It can be 3 inches longer, but I probably would not make the extender portion of it longer than 3 inches. Okay, so now with staggering the chain ends about 2 inches apart, I'm just going to cut through this link. This is the center link, or maybe I'll cut through one of the smaller links.
Fonda says, I love both.
Thank you so much, Fonda. I love it when you guys love both. Of course, I love it when you have favorites too. It kind of tells me, you know, what your preferences are. So I like that too. Okay, guys. So now I have 2 segments of chain, and one is 2 inches longer than the other. And normally I'm very specific which side I put the lobster clasp on. But in this case, this is, you know, it's reversible. It's pretty much the same on both sides, although it may not be the same on both sides. For example, with this turquoise, I really love this side as the front. I think that the back is just kind of a little bit more boring. So I really made it a point to put this part in the front, and whichever side the front is, now we have a right and a left. And if you are a righty, put your lobster clasp on the right side. If you're a lefty, put your lobster clasp on the left side. So it's just going to make it that much easier for you to put your piece on. And so now I already have my open jump ring, and I'm connecting the lobster clasp. And now I'm going to finish by adding a little bauble, and we're just going to string our last little pearl on a ball pin and start making a wrapped loop. And for this, you can use, it doesn't have to match anything, so you can use your round nose, or you can use your bail making pliers, and just make the loop, and then we're going to connect it to the chain via the loop. I think I was a little exuberant, and I made the angle a little too steep. All right, so now this is just right. We want our angle at about 90 degrees before we start wrapping our loop. And we're just going to connect to the end of our remaining chain and wrap the loop. And you can wrap it so that it's a simple wrap. You can wrap it so that it is an organic wrap, whatever makes you happy. All right, ladies, so
Kathy K says, like the chain because the length is so versatile.
thank you so much, Kathy. Yes, exactly. So even though we only, oh, I just realized I never connected the chain. I still have to connect the chain. So even though we only left a couple of inches as an extender, but actually you can connect to any part of the chain. So it's truly so very versatile. All right, so now we are just going to connect the chain to each end of our little handmade chain, and then we're done.
Barb is wondering, are these both on Etsy already?
Thank you so much for asking, Barb. So the Turquoise Lagoon is already listed. It's in the Etsy shop. And Lapis Sea will be listed tonight. So give us about half an hour after the video and it will be in the Etsy shop.
Allie says the oval shapes make it a bit dressy.
It does. So it's kind of an interesting combo of bright chain, and then there's definitely some very bold antiquing around the findings, and then there are a couple of different tones of metal. So there's a lot going on. There are some interesting textures in this. There are not very many colors, but there's definitely color. And I think between color and texture, they just kind of play really well against one another. So I hope you guys picked your favorites. And so again, I left the lapis one pretty long. This one is going to be about, including the extender chain, it's about 23.5 inches, which is the maximum length. But personally, I like to wear necklaces like this, just a little shorter. And so the turquoise variation, so the turquoise variation is about 19 inches, including the extender. But please know that in the kits, you have enough chain to make it up to 23.5 inches, just like the lapis variation. Okay, ladies, so, well, that was a fun little quick project. What do you think? And so let me do a little preview of what is coming up. And what's coming up is a little different than normal. As you probably know, I do these videos most Thursdays and Fridays, but not the next couple of weeks.
Lori is wondering, what is the bead with the silver band around it, please?
You're probably thinking the pearls. So I don't know how well the camera picks it up. I'm looking actually. Yeah, you can see it pretty well. So they're beautiful handmade silver caps around the pearl. In fact, it's the same pearl in both variations of both color variations. So we have the beautiful handmade silver caps around a white pearl. So depending on your monitor, you may be seeing this part as silver, but it's actually kind of almost like a slightly matte white. So, all right, so let's do the preview. I'm excited to do this. This is what we're doing tomorrow. We are going to be making the Silk Road bracelet. And this is tomorrow, Friday, January 20th at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on the Eclectica page. And so I'll show you. This is the loop. This is very kind of I don't know. It just says Silk Road to me. It just reminds me of like some kind of an exotic caravan. And so we have lapis and turquoise, which of course kind of goes with both of these. But I'll give you a little extra preview. So we will actually have 2 extra colors tomorrow, which I'm going to be demoing. And then, yeah.
Kathy says, very earthy bracelet.
Oh, thank you so much, Kathy.
Lori says, thank you. They're so beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Lori. All right, guys. So you may or may not know, but I will not be on my regular schedule next week. So I'm just reminding you, I will not be doing these videos next week because I'm actually going to be in Tucson at the gem market, and I will be buying some new treasures for the store and for more kids, and we're just going to have so much fun exploring more treasures, right? And of course I'll bring them and you'll see some of them not next week, but the week after. All right, so this is the plan. This is what we're doing tomorrow. This is the Silk Road bracelet, and this is kind of a knotting bracelet, and it's a little bit of a macrame bracelet, but very minimally. And then, because I will not be here, and because I really won't have another opportunity to do a project for Valentine's Day, and I really wanted to squeeze one more in just so that we can have something super fun for Valentine's Day. And so I made the Be My Valentine earrings and necklace. And this is what they look like. They're just kind of fun and, casual, but also pretty festive. And they just sort of say Valentine's Day. And so this is going to be January 22nd, and that is this Sunday. It's very unusual that I do a video on a Sunday, but because that was really my last opportunity to do something for Valentine's Day, and I was pretty inspired. I was really actually inspired by these awesome hearts, which are made in the style of Hill Tribe silver. I think they're really beautiful. So that is our project on Sunday. So I know weird time, but I hope you join me Sunday at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. And this is going to be on the Eclectica page. And last but not least, yes, as our tradition, I will definitely do a video from Tucson. But since we don't know if it's going to rain in Tucson, if it's going to snow, we can never predict. And normally when I do the Tucson video, I do it outside. So it will be a surprise. I hope you guys like surprises. I like surprises. I'll make it a good surprise. And we will try to let you know maybe like a day before. So look for that Tucson preview of the video, so roughly a day before the actual video. So that will be announced. We'll
give you we'll try and do it like a day before the announcement.
Yeah, a little bit spontaneous. And then, but wait, there's more. Last but not least, and you may have noticed that we have already set up a video or an event for February 3rd on the Eclectica page. So the February 3rd video is going to be at the usual time, at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. But we don't know what it is yet, because it will be something inspired by whatever it is that we find in Tucson. So we're coming back on the 1st. We are taking off the 2nd, because, well, the February 2nd is not just Groundhog Day, but it is also Tony Day, otherwise known as Tony's birthday. So we're taking off on Tony's birthday, and then on Friday we will be doing the video at the usual time.
Allie says that will be fun to see you live on video on Sunday afternoon.
Oh, yay! Thank you so much. Yeah.
Carmen says, I love surprises.
Yay! Thank you so much, Carmen. Surprises are fun.
And Sabrina says, yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Sabrina.
Kathy K says, love the Tucson videos. Gets me inspired and eager to bead.
Cool. Thank you so much. So, well, I can't wait for all of this. And in the meantime, I will see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Barb says, have a great time in Tucson and soak up some sun in between shopping.
Oh, thank you so much, Barb. Yes, I intend to. I really look forward to the sunshine.
Karen says, same birthday as my father and enjoy Tucson.
Oh, thank you. And it's a good birthday, right? It's Groundhog Day.
Kathy K says, happy pre-birthday, Tony. Thank you for the birthday wishes.
Yay. All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for all of your wonderful comments, and I will see you tomorrow. In the meantime, enjoy creating.